webinar. Okay, thank you. So we are going to start the recording also. I just want to welcome you again to this Fireside Chat with DotLumen, one of our companies that is onboarded on Action 3 of InnoBuyer program, and also TicBiomed, represented by our partner, Jorge Gonzalez. So warm welcome to both of you, Andre from DotLumen and also Jorge Gonzalez. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Just a brief overview of the agenda. We will start by, we already start by this welcome session. I will do a brief overview about the InnoBuyer and also the open call for EIC Solvers. And afterwards, Jorge and Andre will engage in a lively conversation about everything that is going on right now with InnoBuyer, and also with the participation of DotLumen company. Let's wait a minute. So let's talk about InnoBuyer. Let's start with the basics. What is InnoBuyer and what led us to work in this arena of innovation and procurement? So InnoBuyer is a coordination and support action funded by the European Union's Horizon Europe Research and Innovation Program, with a total budget of 2 million euros, and it aims to become a testing ground and benchmark towards the implementation of, I'm sorry, I have to stop this because I hope that now you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as I already told you, InnoBuyer has a budget of 2 million euros, and it aims to become a testing ground and benchmark towards the implementation of a demand-driven methodology that brings together challenges, public and private organizations, and also solvers. And at this point, we are talking about European Innovation Council supporting SMEs to jointly co-create innovative solutions and speed up the process leading to a concrete innovation procurement. So the InnoBuyer methodology is very simple. The main goal is to be very easy to access and to implement this methodology also that InnoBuyer Consortium has developed to facilitate the innovation procurement. So we started this with Action 1, InnoBuyer program with Action 1, where we identified and also helped the challengers to describe the challenges. So we worked with these organizations. We helped them to refine the innovation need that they had at the time. And for that, we had this open call for challengers. Action 2 was, in fact, to pair solvers, meaning companies, with the challengers. We launched this open call for solvers. We did some open market consultation, and we ended up recruiting the SMEs via this open call. And we hope we have achieved the best combination between challenger and solver. Now we are at a phase that we have this open call for EIC Solvers. The goal is very simple. We want to select 4 innovative EIC SMEs that we call the solvers, aiming to co-create pilots addressing specific innovation needs, the challenges of public organizations. And this is very specific for this open call. We are talking about public organizations. So what you have to do if you are an EIC SME, you must team up with a public organization of your choice from any sector and propose a new challenge to be solved, only available for SMEs previously or currently founded by the EIC. So SMEs that, as I referred before, currently or previously founded by EIC can lead this consortium. And also the challenger must be a public organization. And please do check in the guideline for applicants if you are considered a public organization also. So the EIC solver will get up to 55K on action 3. The challenger is eligible to attain up to 10K, meaning 5K in action 3 and 5K in action 4. So all the activities to be funded by the program refer to the co-creation and the deployment of a pilot in collaboration with a public organization for the solver. The challenger is onboarded on the same action and will get also the opportunity to onboard action 4, which is in fact the development of terms of reference. So a big news, a big specific in an important fact from this open call for EIC solvers is that it is sector agnostic. So we are not working in any specific field, so it is open to all. So as I already told you before, we have this open call, which is open until the 6th of June, 5 o'clock CET. We will be performing the eligibility check and evaluation up until the 12th of July. And we aim to start this pilot co-creation program in August 2024. So please go to the InnoBuyer channels. We have the LinkedIn, we have the website. Check if this opportunity is good for you. And the applications are only made in using the F6S platform. And this is just a small disclaimer. You must be registered both as an SME and also the person who will submit the application. So now I will leave the floor to Andre and Jorge. So I will stop sharing. And now the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Filipa. So I'm Jorge Gonzalez. I'm the director of TicBiomed. We are an association that promotes innovation across Europe, especially with a focus on health, but in other policies and instruments. And I'm very pleased to welcome Andre from Lumen. Andre is going to give us a summary of his participation in the InnoBuyer program. And Andre, I think the best way to start is that you introduce yourself, let us know about your company, about your project, and then we will take it from there.
Sure. So hello, everybody. My name is Andrea. I'm the head of business development at Lumen, and I'm really glad actually to be here and that I can share some of the tips that made Lumen get into the InnoBuyer and start this amazing collaboration. So without further ado, I will share my screen to present a bit more about what we're doing, and then how we got into the InnoBuyer, and then some tips in order to find a challenger. All right, so let me see if you can see my screen first of all.
We can.
Perfect. Lumen was founded by Cornel Amarier, who was born in a family where both of his parents have disabilities, and growing up in this environment made him realize how much technology can help people with disabilities and how little it is out there. So looking at the market, we realized that there are over 300 million visually impaired, and while solutions appeared for the many problems that they face, when we speak about mobility, the same two old solution persists, which is the guide dog and the white cane. Now, the guide dog is recognized as great for its features, but it has few drawbacks, amongst which is the high cost of training and also the complex care. So simply put, that explains why there are only 28,000 guide dogs to the over 300 million visually impaired. Simply put, it's not a scalable solution. So here's where we come in. We created a pedestrian autonomous driving AI that is basically a self-driving car, but on the pedestrian side. It's exactly like Tesla, but not on the road, but rather on the pedestrian side. And that technology we first showcased in our classes for the blind, that what it does, it actually replicates the features of a guide dog without the disadvantages that make it non-scalable. To make an example, if I'll ask a guide dog to take me to the door, it will do so marvelously, avoiding all obstacles by putting my hand. If I'll ask the Lumen headset, it will do the same, but rather than putting my hand, it will feel like it pulls my head. And we do this with our patented haptic feedback and also with audio feedback. In terms of competition, or rather said, the problems that the blind face, reading is a problem, others solve it, we solve it as well. Objects showing that something that others solve it, but we believe we do it more intuitively. Guidance, this is something that we do on par with the guide dog, and guided navigation. Now, this is our competitive advantage. This is the world's first and only advanced mobility solution for the visually impaired. But let me go to the market entry, because so far we were focusing a lot on out-of-pocket and reimbursements as a main strategy. But lately with the InnoBuyer, that what we observe is that municipalities have a need to make their cities truly accessible. So InnoBuyer just was a perfect opportunity for us to get started with innovation procurement. Also, besides this, we also realized that we have great partners, such as NVIDIA. We actually opened the NVIDIA GTC this year. So this is also market entry newer to our strategy. Jorge, should I get directly into the application? What do you think?
Please, please.
All right. So when we started the application, actually what I believe it's really important is that we had the opportunity to engage the challenger beforehand. So we speak with the municipality of Cluj-Napoca beforehand. We explained what we do. We explained what we can deliver, and then they also presented what are the challenges that they face. Also, before doing this, I think it's important to mention that we also spoke with a local expert for visual disabilities and accessibility. So this also made us, it was like a bridge in communication, because then we understood better how to approach the municipality. So once we understood how to approach this, we even did a small field test. By field test, I mean I went actually to the municipality of Cluj-Napoca, and then I checked their accessibility parts and certain aspects in the city of how they are accessible, and that gave us a bigger picture of how we can help. Finally, after we had all this data, we then aligned internally on our capabilities and understanding what we can deliver and what not, and where we can co-create. And the last step, it was actually applying to InnoBuyer. So if I'm to be honest, I think the application, it was 1-2 days, but it was just all the work beforehand. So getting all that info and being really aligned with what InnoBuyer requests and what we can do and what the challenger wants. I think this is the golden triangle that it was really important for this success. About the project, so we partnered with the municipality of Cluj-Napoca, and their challenge was making public spaces in the city accessible for the visually impaired without any infrastructure change. So in our case, this was perfect, because what we do is that we do the glasses that replicates the features of the guide dog. So there is no need for any infrastructure change when we speak about accessibility in the city. So it was really easy for us to provide this solution. And what I will also add, we were also lucky because we are in the same city. So Lumen is a Cluj-based startup, and that made even better synergies along the project. Finally, just some tips, or maybe I'll call it the secret sauce. as I mentioned earlier, engaging the challenger early on, I believe it was really helpful because we already had like a warm contact with this person. So it did not require like all that cold and all that connections. So we already been there. So knowing the partner was really important. And lastly, what I will add is that even if you know the partner, even if you engage the challenger early on, it's really important to have the right person inside the challenger organization. In our case, we have somebody who works a lot with innovation, so she could understand like also the part of the startup, like how they work, but also understand the part of the public sector. So for us, this was a blessing, like having this person and understanding and like working like in more agile version and having everything faster. This was like really crucial for us. So finding the right person in the challenge organization can speed up the project significantly. I think this is my brief presentation. I try to be as concise as possible and leave more space for questions because I think there is a lot of value to be added. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I think you did a great job in putting all the key information in a very concise way. I have some comments and suggestions, but first I would like to know if there are any questions from the audience. You know that you can you have questions and answers at the bottom of the screen. So if you want to share any doubts or you have any comments to Andrea or to the organization, please share them. Otherwise, I just wanted to ask while I'm asking that, I want to ask Andrea, you say, okay, the ideal scenarios that you know already, the people in the challenger. We call challengers the organization that puts the problem on the table. Okay, so what would you do if you don't have that person? How do you usually navigate organizations to identify who is the right person to talk with?
Definitely. And I think learning from our experience, that's what we try to apply with different municipalities now, because we want to go beyond InnoBuyer. So we already started speaking with more municipalities and participating in conferences such as the EuroCities or like our cities and so on. So what we try to do now is actually find that right person in municipalities in order to propose our value to them. So we expose ourselves to different conferences. We try to make this warm approach. So we either go testing or we either do some demo or we do some pitching. For example, even last month, the CEO and founder went to Brussels and he pitched to municipalities during a Spin for EIC event. So first of all, in 2 words, I would say like some exposure, like some marketing, and then finding the right person inside that organization. And for the first one, I think every startup or every company knows best how to do this according to their technology and product and customers. And for the second, in terms of reaching out to the right person, in our case, it helps a bit to have the challenger that also gives us some tips. So it's really good to have this collaboration going. But then, of course, this can also be done by desk research, but I would recommend rather having somebody to speak with than doing all the research, like desk research.
We call co-creation to the process where the challenger and you as a solver work together to find a solution to the challenge of, in your case, of blind people. Is this the first time that you do this kind of co-creation, or have you done other experiences in the past?
In co-creation, I mean, just thinking of like a startup, like from the early stages of development, this is a co-creation, but rather than with the challenger, with the blind individuals, because then we build up the device in a way that it's actually built for them. So it's a continuous co-creation for us. So yeah, but other than this,
yeah, but it's the co-creation in this case is the co-creation with a city. I mean, you have done the co-creation with the end user, so to say, the blind person, but have you done a joint project with a customer, a potential customer of your technology?
Yeah, it's actually the first time for us, like having like a co-creation with a public organization in order to, because all of the, as I mentioned, like in the presentation, we were focusing specifically towards the visually impaired. So like we had a strategy of like B2G, B2C, and now this is more like a B2G2C because we were building up from the visually impaired, but now like having the challenger inside this whole scheme, we see that we can do things differently, and we see like we have to adapt the device to solve certain things in the city that we were not thinking of before. So like it also gives a lot of space for the challenger, like to say what problems needs to be solved, and that also helps us like develop it in the right direction.
So basically, InnoBuyer, if I understand correctly, is giving you the opportunity to open up to other potential partners that in your traditional model that is more B2C, to open up the opportunity to collaborate with B2B. That's something likely without InnoBuyer, that will not be the case. Is that correct?
That is correct, actually, and like that's actually quite a statement, because this is like gives us like it's like a bridge towards municipalities and like selling towards municipalities and working with them. And like innovation, as I mentioned, like innovation procurement for us, it was not like something that we delved into. So this just beside like doing the InnoBuyer as per se, this is the foundation. We build everything on this, but like even going into different like events and so on, and like not just this, but like we feel like we put a scalable process inside the company of how to approach this. And I think this is very valuable. And I think also that's something that also the municipality does as well. So they learn how to do innovation procurement.
Have you applied for other grants, so to say, publicly funded grants in the past?
Definitely. So, I mean, does EIC
No,
count?
my question is more compared to these other grants. What do you think about the InnoBuyer process of application and the overall administrative burden, so to say? What is your view on that? And you can be completely honest with us, okay? Because we don't want to trick people. But we are interested in your solution because this is information, and if it is very hard, we want people to know that they need to be prepared for themselves. Okay.
So what I really like about InnoBuyer, and then I'll also say some like what it's different. So in my perspective, when I view these public grants, when I applied, I have two angles. It's like the centralized type of applications, which is more like qualitative, such as EIC. And then there is like the decentralized one, which is the national grants, which are like really bureaucratic. Like it's like it's a different business there. So in terms of application, I would say that InnoBuyer falls into the centralized ones, and I think it's a centralized one after all. So it's more focused on quality than quantity, if that makes sense. Because here on the grants, on the national one, it's just like about ticking some boxes, and then while here it's about like quality. So I think it's good like delivering like value. It's not about making 100 pages business plans and making all that implementation reports, and like there's still reporting, don't get me wrong, and so there is that, but it's not as cumbersome as the national grants. So, but this is like early on, so I don't want to like say it's all, because we still have to reports.
Right.
But so far, so
I have
good.
to say that in general, this is our philosophy. We don't expect you, we don't plan to have all the tricks at the end. But what I want to stress is that we have made efforts to be as streamlined as possible. If maybe you are familiar with other European grants, sometimes they can be very heavy, very burdensome, as you were mentioning. With InnoBuyer, we are trying that it is more focused on the business, on the co-creation, on the value, rather than on checking papers or checking, as you say, checking points, okay? Because that they don't add value so much. Okay, I still encourage people to put their questions. I think it's very important to know what are your concerns. Filipa, I'm not sure if we can ask the attendees to tell us if they are EIC companies or not, because unfortunately, or because of the conditions of the calls, only EIC companies, I guess everybody is familiar with the concept, European Innovation Council, selects, like in this case, Lumen companies, and provide them with economic resources and added value services. But in this call, only EICs are eligible. So I want that to be very clear, because we don't want to raise expectations that yeah, InnoBuyer is great, I apply, and then I realize that I'm no EIC, and then all the effort is wasted. Okay, we don't want you to be in that situation. So because I see a number of people, we have now 18, which I think is quite good for such a limited scope, because EICs, at least in my opinion, are the top of the top. By the way, Andre, congratulations for getting into the EIC program. So we don't want to raise false expectations. Again, I'm not sure if we can ask them feedback. What do you think? Can we ask them for a note, or because of privacy issues?
Yes, maybe I can help you with that. No, we cannot ask if the attendees are EIC companies. We can only provide this information that for this specific open call, only EIC currently or previously funded by the EIC can in fact apply for this open call for EIC Solvers. But we cannot ask at this moment to the attendees if they are EIC or not.
Two questions. We have Philippe and myself with a stress. This is only for EIC companies. For the ones of you, the lucky ones that you are EIC companies, please, we encourage you to have a look. For the ones you are not an EIC company, I strongly suggest that you have a look to the program, because maybe Andre can say one minute about this. Is, in my opinion, one of the best programs that the European Commission has. Andre, you want to comment on this?
Indeed, definitely. So I think applying to EIC, it's more than just, definitely it's more than just funding. So it's about like a strategic positioning of the company, and like being aligned with the European values and just going global. I think at some point I saw a document, and it was from EIT Health. So it was just like putting the stages. It was just like Jumpstarter, or like this stage, and like innovation factor and so on. And then EIC what at the end. So like EIC, it's the grail of like the holy grail of like financing in EU in terms of like startups or R&D. So even for us, like being in EIC, first of all, that we are happy to be part of the InnoBuyer. So without EIC, we wouldn't be here. But even like as part of the EIC, it provides even more help with the innovation procurement. So this is just only one part of it. Other than this, there are trade shows, there are events, there are pitching, connection with investors, and yeah, it's better if you can connect, and then I can tell you more about it, because there is a lot to it. So feel free to get in touch with me. Actually, I will leave my LinkedIn in the chat if that's okay. So anything EIC related, like feel free to get in touch.
Yeah, and I think that already added your LinkedIn to the chat. And if I may, we do have a question in the Q&A box. But before, if I'm allowed, I just want to ask Andre. So you will get up to 60K, so it's not a big value. It's not a lot of money. And for a company like yours, you got the money. So why applying to InnoBuyer when the financial incentive are not that big, or we are not talking about millions, right? So what is the advantage?
It's at least from how I see it, is like giving this context to start innovation procurement, because without having this structure and without having this kickstart in it, then we might have focused on something else. But this gives us like it was, first of all, it was already like in line with our strategy to create pilots in Cluj-Napoca, and then scaling towards East Europe and then West Europe. So first of all, it aligned well with our internal strategy. And then secondly, this was like a launch pad for us for innovation procurement. So because in this way, we also have to report a bit, we also have to speak with the public organization. It's not like we don't have lots of things that we have to do, but it's just like we put this all on the table and now we're doing it.
So thank
Right.
you.
Before I jump into the question that is there, by the way, it has been shared information in the chat. I think that what you just said, Andre, is super important. And most of the startups that they are craving for money, sometimes they forget, is that this is aligned with our strategy. This is key, okay? Because otherwise, the opportunity cost of entering into these programs and diverting from your original business model and your target and strategy is a waste. You can have a certain gain with the money, but at the end of the day, if you will have invested that time and energy into identifying special customers, having organic growth, talking with investors, and in the medium long term, this is much better. So it is very important. I know the temptation is there because sometimes public money is easier to get that market money, so to say, but in the long run, it pays off. Now, there was a question about how people can see if they are eligible or not. We have shared that information in the chat. I have to tell you that, and Andre can confirm, getting into the EIC programs is not easy. As I said, it's the top-notch companies in Europe, so competition is very fierce because the conditions, the economic conditions, and the added value is very high. So it's very difficult. My personal suggestion is that if you can get any kind of help, even from consultancy companies or whoever support service that you have in your region or even at national level, take them because it's going to be ultra competitive, but it is worth it. So, but not everybody, okay? Again, and this is also an opportunity cost. If your company, you don't feel that it is mature enough, or if you don't feel that that you are ready, okay, or that your business model perhaps is not so scalable, or the conditions that they ask for, look for other sources, okay? Having said that, you have the information there in the link. There are periodic calls. You can enroll and try, okay? But always in thinking that it's going to be very hard. Okay, so again, as you can see, we are trying to put expectations very clear from the beginning. Okay. Now, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just like gonna add that indeed, as Jorge, as you said, like indeed it's like super competitive. So it's good to check if it's like worth applying, because it also takes some time and some commitment to apply for one. So it's good like to see if it's like an eligibility like sync in there. But what I will also like, what I believe like retrospectively, what really helped us and what I really resonated with the previous commissioner from European Union, from the Innovation Commissioner, is that like having this deep tech, and deep tech goes also beyond like the technology. It also like deep tech, it's about solving deep problems with technology. So having this in mind also helps.
Right. Now, seeing that either our audience is either very shy or Andre has explained everything to a level that nobody has questions, I'm going to introduce yet another piece of advice. And again, I think it has been very well said. And if you guys have no interaction, we will finish before time. Andre, in my experience with previous companies, they, in the co-creation phase, they focus a lot on the technical aspects of the co-creation, but they leave till the very end what we call the adoption of the technology, meaning that if the co-creation, at the end of the co-creation, you usually evaluate if the objectives of the project has been successfully achieved or not. And then in case, okay, we have reached the successful solution, now let's talk business. Let's see how there can be an economic exchange or a value exchange, okay? Because in order to have adoption, not necessarily there has to be an economic exchange. There can be things like, for example, they can become like a reference center. They can invite other potential customers. They can be other potential interactions that are not only economic exchange. And for some companies, sometimes it's even better to have a first customer or first reference site that just hoping to get a lot of money that never comes, okay? So you always have to balance, or you can combine more, economic and... At any case, they leave these conversations to the very end because, oh, we don't know if this is going to work, or we just want to get to the end because they will fall in love with the final solution and they will be craving for buying it. That doesn't happen, okay? That doesn't happen. So if you want to transition between pilot stage and uptake deployment, when any exchange of value that you want to have, it is much, much, much better to anticipate those discussions while the project is still running, because then there is a kind of obligation because of the contract to talk, okay? Not necessarily only a technical level, that's what we suggest, but also a business level, a commercial level, a strategic level. So don't make the mistake of leaving all these conversations till the very end, because there is no official framework of collaboration, let's call it this way, then everybody's very busy, there are so many other projects, and then the whole thing fades away, okay, which is a pity. And if you have to ask hard questions to say, okay, if we want to have an economic exchange, thanks to InnoBuyer, we have received money that maybe that can be discounted of the market price because we have been interacting, you have given us a know-how, we can get to that. But then they need to know, because especially if it is a public organization, you know that they have annual budgets. So if the project ends in April and that amount is not in the annual budget, they cannot buy. The other day I was talking with a guy in charge of economics and say, if it is not in the budget, it doesn't exist, okay? But what you can do is to anticipate that, and you can make a reserve in the budget, I mean the challenger, as we call it. So you need to bring these topics, you need to anticipate this discussion, these exchanges in advance. You need to agree on a price tag if there is going to be an economic value. And of course, you will want them to pay the maximum and they will like to pay the minimum. But if there is a truly understanding, you should get to that level. And the sooner that they know what is a fair price, what are the first conditions, the earlier they can put into their budgets or into the decision makers table or whatever. So please, 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 whether you enter InnoBuyer or not, please anticipate these business conversations as soon as possible, even if the solution is not ready, because there is always a time in the co-creation project that you know is going to work, even if you have not finished it, okay? And if you are a techie, if you're a geek, and that's not your business, please tell that to the people that is their business in your organization, okay? Because otherwise, and that's what we hate, we see that there's a lot of time, effort, money wasted, and we don't want it, okay? So you are very happy to talk with us with InnoBuyer, even if you are not an EIC company, so therefore you are not eligible for this call, because this, you can see here, we have this movement that is called Impactful Innovation, and we want that everything that we do in innovation has an impact. So feel free to contact FCSS, Chivita, TicBiomed, so we can exchange more information about that. Now, I close the parentheses, and Jeff, let me see,
We have two questions, if I can help you with this. So the first question I already answered in the Q&A box, but I think it's good to share this information also, and I did in the chat, because there is always these questions, am I an EIC company or not? Do I have an EIC company or not? So the funding must be direct, meaning that if you want, for example, an open call by a third party financed by the EIC, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in this open call for EIC Solvers. But we included also in the guideline for applicants a link, which is the EIC Accelerator Data Hub. So if you go there, I put it in the chat. And if you just type the name of your company, you will find out if you are eligible or not. This is not this is not set on stone. So maybe you onboarded another EIC program. So if you have doubts, please reach out to us, to the info@innobuyer.com, to myself, or to any of the partners involved in InnoBuyer, and we will be happy to help you out, trying to understand if the funding that you have or had is eligible as an EIC fund. So now we have another question. Maybe I can read it. Last call, we received additional feedback for our application. So someone who already applied to InnoBuyer. We aspire to address some questions and reapply based on the feedback. However, as far as I can see, there is no specific category in the application where we can apply. Should we submit our application, or will there be a specific category added to the call? So this open call is sector agnostic, meaning that every sector is eligible to apply. And furthermore, there is this very specific thing about this open call, which is you must bring your own solver, meaning on our last call, and I think that the question is really related to that. On the last call, we had a predefined challenges. So we already had very sector-specific challenges that the SMEs could apply to. This is not happening on this open call since the model that we will follow is the same that, for example, DotLumen onboarded, which is you must approach your challenger, your public organization, and although the SME is leading the application, you must have the consent of the public organization, the challenger, also to onboard. So no, we will not have any specific challenges this time.
Okay, I think we are not getting more interaction, and for the sake of time of everybody, we are about to close. Again,
A further question, Jorge?
only EICs. Oh, sorry, I missed it. Oh,
yes.
my
What TRL level would be considered as a challenge, as a challenger? So no limits here. Also, please, if you are piloting a solution from the beginning to the end, of course, that we want to a very initial or low TRL. It's not ideal to work together and to develop a pilot, of course. But yes, I would say that from 5 upwards, we can have some margin, okay, to accept. But in the guideline for applicants, there is no TRL minimum established. And of course that we must follow that.
Filipa has said it very well. Every or all TRLs are eligible. If I were you, I will go for 8 and 9. Okay, because what you want, I mean, InnoBuyer, the good thing about InnoBuyer is that it's very fast and it's very cheap. And it's geared by design to adoption, to commercial traction. So you can have a 5 and 8, of course, that will be eligible. But if you can choose, go for an 8. And me personally will go for a 9, meaning that the technology is a 9, but the problem that you are trying to solve with that technology is not in the market. I mean, the solution that is you are trying to solve with that challenge is not in the market. Because you have to consider and always remember that there are two types of innovation. One is technical innovation, the technology is not mature, and then commercial innovation. Oh, there is not a problem in the market. For me, the ideal scenario is to have a tier 9 for the technology, and then a challenge that is has a lot of commercial impact or commercial value on the challenger, and is easy to adapt in this period of 9 months, a little bit more maybe or less of InnoBuyer. Because what we want from InnoBuyer is that you do the co-creation is successful, successfully evaluated, and then very shortly in time, it is adopted. So you end up with the first customer, okay? So everything is eligible, optimally, tier 9 for technology, no solution in the market, very high chances that it has a seamless procurement process, commercialization process, especially with the challenger, that brings you credibility. This is a very important thing. If you do a pilot, forget about the InnoBuyer, in another context, you do a pilot with a challenger, and the challenger doesn't incorporate your technology, you have no credibility for other potential customers. So make everything in your power during co-creation to have a seamless transition between pilot and acquisition, because it's not only that you finish with a first customer, which is very good, and maybe even that's what I was saying before a value exchange, is that you gain credibility in the market, and you can ask for simple exchange of the value. Okay, you are going to introduce me to all your friends, so I can have a direct market interaction with them, and I give you a very, very low rate. Okay, so think always about value exchanges. Think in the medium long term. Okay, because and with this I finish. If I'm a private investor and I have to choose between two companies, and one company has a great technology and the other company has a great technology and a first customer, who do you think I'm going to choose? Okay, so always think about having your piloting organization becoming a first customer. Now, Filipa, I think there are no other questions. Oh, yes, let me see.
No. It's just a follow-up, an explanation about the previous question from our attendee. So no questions here.
Andre, do you want to have any final statement, suggestion, insight, whatever comment from your side?
I think the main topics were really well covered. So if anything else, like if there are specific questions for InnoBuyer from the perspective of a solver, I'm happy to answer them on LinkedIn if anything comes up, or any other questions also related to EIC. Maybe that will be like a direct message would make more sense. So yeah.
So from my side, Filipa, I will let you to finish the conversation. Encourage everybody. Unfortunately, it's only for EICs, but you can also understand the model. One thing is that if you take this model of InnoBuyer, you can always, and you can have a close interaction with the demand side, with potential customers. You can always talk with customers, and then identify innovation programs in your country, region, at the European Commission, okay? And even if they just support, so to say, you as a company, you can drag along your potential customer, which has the added value that through that interaction, you can end up with them as a first customer, okay? The thing is that you can always twist technology push instruments that you can apply. They cannot apply, and bring that potential customer with a win-win opportunity for both of them. So do not think that because there is not so many InnoBuyers out there, you cannot transform the current instruments into demand-driven, not only technology push. I think there is another.
Yes. There's a question about the availability of this recording. So we will be sharing this on this recording and also the slides on InnoBuyer website. So just give us a couple of days to do the upload and to deal with the tech. But yes, everything will be available for you to be able to see it again and to check if you have any further questions and to contact us. So I think that we can end this session. I want to thank you to Jorge and to Andre for this lively conversation. Thank you for all your input. Thank you, Jorge, for your expertise. I think it's valuable to the people that are willing to apply and they want to onboard on some programs, not just InnoBuyer, but to really delve into this world of innovation procurement. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this webinar. To Andre, thank you also. It was a pleasure. I told Andre already in our meeting that it was the process of evaluation. I was doing the process of evaluation, and everyone was absolutely flabbergasted by the solution that they are providing. So the evaluators and myself, we couldn't stop smiling while watching them present their solutions. So I want to wish you the best of luck for this pilot co-creation. And it has been a pleasure, and it will be a pleasure to work with you for the next 10 months. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Ana Rita, who is hidden behind the F6S logo. Ana Rita, so she organized this, she did the preparation of this webinar. Thank you so much, Ana Rita. And well, I must end this webinar also by thanking the attendees